read Brahmajala Sutta. I am sure that those suttas are available in Thai language. So you could read, right? So you could read. And also the third, when we see that the third one is Arya Pariyasana Sutta. Arya Pariyasana Sutta. So you can learn this particular sutta to learn about real biography of the Buddha. What I mean real biography? The biography we know, sometimes it's not like exactly related to the human beings. So, but when we read Arya Pariyasana Sutta, you can experience the Buddha's biography, and he was gradually explaining from very beginning until he found the noble truth. So, in this Arya Pariyasana Sutta, Buddha was analyzing about two types of research. Two types of research. What I mean the research, the word pariyasana. Word pariyasana. So in the Arya Pariyasana Sutta, Buddha was discussing about, analyzing about noble research and noble quest and ignoble research. Arya, Anarya. Noble means Arya, Anarya means ignoble. So there are two types of quest or the searching. The Buddha as the Bodhisattva he was doing. So that is in Arya Pariyasana Sutta. So I recommend you to read these suttas, just like Abhidhamma Sutta also in the Digha Nikaya, and also Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and last days of the Buddha, Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So especially I recommend you to read, no matter maybe not in English but in Thai. So you can learn something about history of Buddhism. Especially like to compare with some other religious background. Why we have questions like, you know, that when Buddhism established in India, just after 2-3 years, there were more than 20,000 disciples, monks. So why Buddhism was established and developed, propagated in India quite faster? Just right after the establishment, we have to learn why Buddhism was propagated in India quite faster than the other religions. So then I recommend you to read such suttas, and as we know that Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta as a very introduction to the Buddhism, and also Mahaparinibbana Sutta, it is related to the points that the Buddha's passing away, after passing away, what will be the guider or the leader to guide the disciples. So it is, we can read. And also when you learn about the history of Buddhism, I recommend you to read these books, to follow these books, all about history of Buddhism in India. So you can imagine that how many texts were written, how many texts were published related to the history of Buddhism in India. I am sure that when you read these all texts, and in all the texts, there might be something different one from another. Right? That's why I said, if you read the book from A.K. Voda, I mean the history of Buddhism, not just the Buddhism but proofing or providing some evidence from archaeological sites. So that book, A.K. Voda, Indian Buddhism. So this one I may highlight to read, and other texts also. Just now I mentioned that one scholar from Japan, Hirakawa. Yeah. So then his book about this one, the last history of Indian Buddhism. History of Indian Buddhism, and also the history of Indian Buddhism, just I mentioned 2 times. The Hirakawa Akira. So this text, so when you read this text, you can see that some scholars, after going through all the details, the findings, that they make some conclusion like saying that as I said, Buddhism is nothing than Hinduism. So why? As they understood. But when we see the teachings of the Buddha, we can't compare the teachings, because you know that Hinduism, especially based on the teachings of the self or the Atma or the soul, there is a permanent soul. Hinduism, right? So the things are everything in the world created by the God, right? So the God created human beings and he classified Mahabrahma. He created the world and classified into different castes. So that's why I said you should read Abhidhamma Sutta. So something different from the Buddhist point. So that is different. We cannot claim Buddhism and Hinduism. Yes. So that's why for you, when nowadays it is some conflict idea, it is like about controversy. Whether we use term liberation to translate Nibbana into English. So whether the word liberation is covering whole aspect of Nibbana or not. So right now we don't translate Nibbana into any term. We just leave Nibbana as Nibbana. So don't forget read some books. Of course, many books now available PDF. Indian Buddhism, this one is available PDF, and that book History of Indian Buddhism available PDF. So that's why I said like if you read all, when you read one from another, you can find something different. So book from A.K. Warder, this one, A.K. Warder, Indian Buddhism, A.K. Warder. He's based on archaeological proofment. So I recommend A.K. Warder. A.K. Warder. There are many texts, many books you can find, but some just like you know that if you read about the Buddhism, we can find many texts, but we just recommend like just the book like what the Buddha taught. So accepted worldwide, 23 languages. So then when we talk about the meditation, there are many books, but internationally, okay, they recognize meditation in plain English. Meditation in plain English. So that book already translated into 18 languages. So it doesn't mean that the translated into many languages means essence of the book is accepted, but I mean like when we compare with many publications, we can assume that we can make sure that some information are very reliable and exactly based on points or the perspective of Buddhism. So from that point, so I recommend you to read the Indian Buddhism, and also to get some controversy points, you could read from the book from Hirakawa. So the such book, but anyhow many books available in PDF version. So to improve your knowledge, you could read some book. So then when we go through the historical Buddhism, that as you know that he was applying two practices, those were existed at the time when he was born. So as I mentioned that the self-indulgent means Kama Sukha Likkhana Yoga. It was a tradition in Hinduism that life is only this very moment. So we should enjoy it. So there is some saying in Hinduism, Hindu text, we can find that Yavat Jive Sukham Jive Irunam Bhutva Bhutam Jive. Yavat Jive Sukham Jive. As far as life exists, should live with happiness. Irunam Bhutva. Having borrow money, having borrow or having get loan, Bhutam Jive should drink ghee. Ghee means the very specific part of the productions of the cow milk. So they believe that drinking ghee is like a very specific meal. So no matter how far the life exists, we should enjoy. So then they almost time they spend. That is called self-indulgent. Self-indulgent. So no matter, you should get loan and enjoy it. So just like nowadays what is happening, and many people they loan for many things to buy the car, house and everything. And the end of the month when salary come over, go, right? For month, no problem. So let me to ask the questions. From Kamasupallikana Yoga, Attakila Matana Yoga, there are two extremes. Which one is the most dangerous? From those two, it's like there are two practices, Kamasupallikana Yoga, Attakila Matana Yoga. So from these two, which one is the most dangerous, most serious? Yeah, you see the words. When Buddha was Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is saying for the Kamasupallikana Yoga, Hino, Gammo, Potujjaniko, Anariyo, Anatta Samhito. Right? Hino, very low. Gammo, the village practice means very, very like what called, crucial. Gammo, Hino, Gammo, Potujjaniko, that is very ordinary. Anariyo, non-ignoble. Anatta Samhito, non-beneficial. So there are 5 terms Buddha was using when analyzed about Kamasupallikana Yoga. Why? Because the one who attached to the sensual pleasure, he can do anything to make himself comfortable. If you read Jataka literature, Sutta Soma Jataka. So, in the Sutta Soma Jataka, the Sottisena, the king Sottisena, he addicted to eat the human flesh. And then, when he couldn't find out human flesh, he started to kill the people. So, the person who attached to the sexual pleasure, he may do any danger, anything to find his happiness. So then Buddha was claiming that the reason in Indian society at that time they were killing. When King Kosala, when he dreamed 16 dreams, somebody advised him that it is something serious is coming. You should do the sacrification. So for my happiness, they killed 1,000 animals. They killed 1,000 plants. So then Buddha was saying for the self-indulgent, Kamasupallikana Yoga, very dangerous. For one's happiness, they can destroy many things. Right? So that is happening in nowadays. And Attakila Matana Yoga, Dukkho Anariyo Anatta Samhito. Dukkho means it is suffering. Suffering to whom? Self-suffering. You know that in India, if you go to India, when you go to Buddha Gaya, when you go to Ganga River, even today, the people they do something as self-mortifications. You know that Hindu literature, Hindu traditions, they cut their own body. They do many painful acts. Yeah, because they believe that. They think that karma or the actions of the karma within the body. When we give suffering to the body, karma will disappear. So that's they believe. So when the wind very hot, they like to go outside and sit and practice meditation. So they believe that through giving suffering to the body is the way to escape from the karma. But only the Buddhism is analyzing. Karma is nothing with the body but something in the mind. So we have to purify our mind. So then the Buddha analyzed from when the very essence of the teaching, Buddha was saying that Sabba Papa Sakaranam Kusala Supasampada Sachitta Pariyodapana Etan Buddhana Sasana. So Sachitta Pariyodapana, purifications of one's own mind. So that the karma related to the mind. So but self-mortification it is saying. But somehow self-mortification is dangerous to oneself, not to the others. So then it is dukkho, it is suffering to oneself. Anaryo, it is not the noble, ignoble. Anatta Samhito, no benefit. When you give suffering to oneself, yourself, you can get nothing. What you can get? Only the pain. So that's what he was applying these two practices. So after following these two practices, he thought that there is no way to attain enlightenment. So then he started to apply Majjhima Patipada, not get into any extremes, but middle way or the middle path, Majjhima Patipada. So for that reason, that's why I said, when we talk about the most important teachings of the Buddha, we can conclude into the Four Noble Truth. So why we call that many other related teachings based on the Four Noble Truth. So it is saying in the, I recommend you to read once again Mahāhathipadotama Sutta. Mahāhathipadotama Sutta, which is available in Majjhima Nikaya. Mahāhathipadotama Sutta. So I know that you may be familiar with the Sutta. Mahāhathipadotama Sutta. In Majjhima Nikaya there are two suttas, Chullahathipadotama Sutta, Mahāhathipadotama Sutta. So what I recommend you to read Mahāhathipadotama Sutta. In Mahāhathipadotama Sutta we can find very specific analysis given by the Buddha with concerning the Four Noble Truth. So he recommend that he mentioned that when we, in the Mahāhathipadotama Sutta there are many other teachings, but all those teachings can conclude into the Four Noble Truth. So in many occasions we see that dukkhancaham panyapemi dukkhasacha atikkama. So I declare the world is suffering and also the cessation of the suffering. So then Mahāhathipadotama Sutta we can see that very specific analysis of the Four Noble Truth. I recommend you to read. Now I recommended many people to read. So self-indulgence and self-mortification. So self-indulgence, as you know that he was having or he is spending life in 3 different palaces which experience all the happiness. If you visit India, now when you go to Buddha Gaya, you can go further and there is a palace called Mahanta's Palace. Before Buddha Gaya was belonged to Hindus. Right? Buddha Gaya belonged to Hindus. They claim this is for the place for the Jaina Mahavira. So then later like Anagarika Dharmapala is from Sri Lanka, like he was having filed a case against this, that he proves that this is the place for the Buddha or the Buddhist. Finally Indian government they announced that this is the place for the Buddhist. So but you know when you go to Buddha Gaya, in the left side there is a small room. So that belonged to Hindus. Because the Mahanta, he said that I was looking after this place, so at least give me one room. So that place for Hindus. And this, like when you go to further behind the Buddha Gaya, there is Mahanta's Palace. So in the Mahanta's Palace, it is I think a 4-story building. Yeah, 4-story building. You know, even this age, the owner, he comes out from the palace once a year. He comes out from his palace once a year to do the rituals. So I was asking him if he gets sick, a doctor comes to see. He is not going to the hospital, but doctors are coming to see him. So this is now. So you can imagine that even today in India, in Agra, there is one building, 800 rooms belong to one person. So India is like the gap between society. Who is the rich? He is richest. And who is the poor? He is poorest. So very different gap. So then in that time, so you can imagine that the Bodhisattva, he was rejoicing. He was rejoicing 3 different palaces related to 3 different seasons. So as you know that Ramma, Suramma, Subha. Ramna, Suramna, Subha. So the king Suddhodana wanted to keep him as a lay person. So he make all the arrangement to enjoy. So he enjoyed a lot. So then that is called self-indulgence. And when he was practicing the ascetic practices, the 6 years, 6 years, so that called self-mortification. So as you know that what the reasons of practicing asceticism, they believe that when you give too much suffering, there is the way to attain enlightenment. But after passing all through, he just feel himself, he has no power. So finally he decided to change accordingly.